Hi, my name is Danielle Weiberg, and I wrote my paper on media multitasking. Media multitasking is a person's consumption of one or more item or stream of content at a time. Basically, this means that someone is taking advantage of their telephone while emailing or Facebooking or just doing anything that includes different forms of technology at a time while trying to perform their daily activities. It's growing in our society and is likely to continue to grow with the amount of technology that is coming out. Cameron Weller, author of Multitasking is Demanded by Society, says this form of multitasking is important because technology allows it and society demands it. I think that this quote is very important because our society really does demand it. It's almost as if you aren't multitasking, then people don't believe that they're going to succeed and they're not going to get everything done in a day that they need to. Cameron Weller also gives the example that it's seen in the government, work world, and music industry. It's seen in the government in that it takes on multiple issues at the same time, such as war on terrorism and economics, and they even try to get into global warming and things like that. The work world especially shows multitasking as a very important and beneficial trait to have. The better your resume is, it just means that you have done more. You've been in more groups and more organizations, and you participate, and you're a go-getter, and you just, you keep going until you're done, and that's multitasking. So, it's really expected in the workplace today. In the music industry, Weller said, take Lady Gaga, for example. She is not simply a pop artist, but an innovative fashionista whose sexuality has been debated and whose music has touches of dance and hip-hop and electronic mass behind a persona of glitter, paint, and spandex, and an ever-morphing mess of bleach blonde hair. It takes a multitasker like Lady Gaga to get attention, which clearly provides enough information that the more you do, the more attention you get. The more attention you get, the more successful you can be. So, with that in mind, many people find multitasking as the only way to get by in our society. Technology advancements are making multitasking more popular, and while the examples I gave previously don't focus so much on just media multitasking and multitasking overall, I did research a lot about how multitasking with the media has effects on the brain, and I did find much more negative impacts than I did positive. Jordan Griffman, College of Cognitive Neuroscience at the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke, did a study using MRI scans and found that when people multitask, the frontal cortex, called the Brodmann Area 10, which is located right behind the forehead and in the brain's anterior prefrontal cortex, where the switching of attention from one task to another takes place. The effects, Grafman's discovery has proved the point that the brain has a physical reaction, and the fact that it does have such a physical reaction is scary and something that multitaskers should take into consideration. In 2005, the BBC reported that workers distracted by email and phone suffer a fall in IQ more than twice that found in marijuana smokers. Now, the fact that doing multiple activities can have worse effects according to attention and focus than putting drugs in your body is quite shocking as well. As technology continues to develop, it makes sense that the number of people who are participating in media multitasking is increasing. In 2008, people received 3 times the amount of information that they did in 1960. Many scientists suggest that the ability to focus is being undermined by bursts of information. Michael Posner spoke on the neurological basis for attention and brought notice to the fact that the more things you are exposed to, the more easily you get mentally exhausted and you need a break and you're fatigued. So He also discussed the idea that when people think they're multitasking, they're actually not doing many things at the same time, they're just switching between them very quickly. This is called the interference between two tasks, which basically means that someone is not capable of writing an email and talking on the phone at the same time because it's two forms of communication that can't be separated. The brain and a person cannot have two separate conversations at the same time, they have to switch between them. The effects of switching back and forth quickly between tasks are immense. According to a study at University of California, it showed that it took workers 25 minutes to regain focus and continue working at the pace they were before they were distracted. Now, if you add up how many times people switch tasks in a day, that really adds up to a lot of time lost. Hence, people don't actually get as much done as they think they are. Another surprising effect of switching between tasks very quickly is what Dr. Edward Hamilton describes as attention deficit trait. It's very similar to attention deficit disorder in that the symptoms include not being able to focus and not being able to keep attention and know what to pay attention to. He says that it's purely a response to the hyperkinetic environment of our surroundings. Some of the positive effects that I found on media multitasking there aren't as many as there are compared to the negative ones, although Nora Volkow, director of the National Institute of Drug Abuse, said technology use is beneficial. Imaging studies show the brains that use the internet become more efficient at finding information, and players of video games develop better visual activity. There were also professors who stated that, it goes back to the information idea. People can gain information so fast, and they're learning and they're gaining knowledge. But really, that's the only positive effect that I found in my research about media multitasking. It also, touched on the idea that, we can communicate to people at a further distance, although we're losing, the physical connections and ability to talk to people face to face, which also has an effect on, the way that we go about living our lives. Overall, media multitasking has both positive and negative influences on our body, and through my research, I found that it mostly has negative effects. I was very surprised by the information I found in my research and hope that people who participate in media multitasking, myself included, take this information and use it to benefit themselves. Because in the long run, the way that we go about our lives and doing many tasks at the same time, we think it might be paying off and we think it might be helping us get stuff done faster, but really it's slowing our attention, it's wasting our time, trying to refocus, and really it isn't as beneficial as we may think. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation and found a lot of my research new and informative. Thank you for your time.